in an environment as we wind down to the end of the year that is still going to be fraught with window dressing, in an environment where trade war chatter is still going to take headlines and it's still going to take the market higher, I want to focus on the long side of the market. Now, again, starting from currencies, commodities, sectors, indices, and then the stocks that are affected by all those things, looking at something like CLOU may not be something that someone might think initially is very much related to futures. But I look at something like CLOU, I look at something like SMH, and I think these are pockets of psychology, even XLC. These are pockets of psychology within the NASDAQ that are sensitive to tech. And tech continues to be very, very strong. So when I look at something like the QQQ, which is reflecting what's happening in NQ futures, there's just very little reason to not think bullishly on CLOU, SMH, XLC, even pockets of the XLY, which is another very heavily weighted sector within the NASDAQ. And then as you take a look, and I know at first this looks like a lot of stocks, like, oh my gosh, Rag, how do we make heads or tails of this? We make heads or tails of this by doing a very quick cursory scan of the individual stocks, prioritizing, you guessed it, the double greens. Sometimes that's going to be the broader average itself, XLY in this situation. Let's take a quick look at the SMH. All right, look at SMH, heavily weighted stocks and the broader sector, the ETF, all very bullish. So we focus on the long side of these names. The second pass is going to be looking at dots. All right, and a lot of what we're going to be doing in the premium video today is really focusing in on not just the double green, but then taking that next layer down is where are the dots and where is that going to be related to the broader averages. Let's just jump on back to XLC for a moment. You know, for example, I've got a double green in Netflix. I've got a double green in EA. So let's take a look at Netflix. Okay, do I want to short Netflix? At this point, I can't. Two things happened. We broke the 200 EMA and we're double green on the trade flags. If I take another look within the XLC of another name, let's take a look at EA. Now, this is what I mean about that second look out of stock. Double green trade flags, but what do I also have? I have the 13 EMA propulsion dots. I have the 21 EMA propulsion dots, and I'm above the 200. In terms of preference, I would prefer to buy EA. It has better structure. And this is what I mean by structure. This is the kind of scanning, this is the kind of specificity after that initial sort of trade flag scan. That's that next layer that we need to do, that we want to do. So then after that, I think it's pretty easy to say, well, let's go take a look at Goog and Gambell. And let's not forget that an overall pullback in the XLC would likely accompany a pullback in the QQQ. And we want to be looking long there as well. And this would absolutely mimic and will actually be reflective of what we see in NASDAQ futures. So if you can keep this process in mind, it's a pretty simple process. If you can keep that process in mind, there's nothing that you're not going to be able to handle in terms of prioritizing and building your watch list in this environment where year-end, I think, window dressing, trade war sort of pumps, if you will, in terms of headlines, is going to keep, I think, the short squeezes still active. So that means on those opportunities for a pullback, you can't hesitate. And we'll pinpoint some more of those here, but this is the process, right?